to pull a milli from the climate. Now let's explain, define what I'm talking about through my personal experiences since I got silenced on that last video I uploaded. I don't know why they allowed the video to go through and no voice. All the lip readers know exactly what I'm saying. But let's go ahead and elaborate to pull a milli from the climate. So now I was working as a detective for Macy's, investigating who? The employees at Macy's and everyone else. So upon working there, ongoing, constant conditioning toward me. They know how I am. They know that they call me Mr. Policy. I labeled myself that. So now they want to start really emphasizing and trying to condition me to practice what's in the gray area. Gray area in terms of violating policy, but it still occurs. Nothing gets prosecuted because it's all favoritism, nepotism, and they're all lying. So basically it's like this. We want you to inflate numbers and this and that, and when you write reports, write it this way, which is not true. You know, they want me to lie. You know what I mean? So that way when they trespass someone, what can happen is that the fine will be bigger, or they could be criminally charged instead of released so quick. And this is out of just spitefulness. You know what I mean? So they know I'm not about no favoritism or nepotism or anything like that. You know what I mean? But as they share that with me constantly, I'm looking at it going like this. Man, if you're willing to tell me, imagine the people that come in that are passive, humble, meek, that you try to brainwash to do what? They use all that stuff on a police report in conjunction through the court process. So it's part of a police report. You lie on a police report, guess what happens? That's a misdemeanor felony, depending on who you are, what your background, all that stuff, how many times. So now, do you really think that group that's in a senior management position at that place is going to go ahead and be loyal to you or anything like that? Say if you even indulge in that type of behavior where you're lying on the reports about a particular subject to try to increase the penalty in any way you want, whether he stole 10 shirts and you put 40, he stole whatever, you're lying. You know what I mean? So they say, no, it's not a police report, not a police report, but they want to keep influencing you, and that's the part that I say, you know what? Never mind the idea of sending y'all to jail. We're going to do a civil litigation situation, and you're going to pay for all this. So that way, I can allocate the money from the wickedness to the righteous. Pull a milli from the climate. You know what I'm saying? So, all for what? Not because of me. Of course the money's going to come to me because I've been through that experience. You know what I mean? But to set a bar of like, if you want to violate policies over here, it's been going on for so long, because you've been a captain here in this position for so many years, and now that I come in, you keep embracing that whole idea of, yeah, Rico, just write it this way, do it like this, do it like that. You know what I mean? I'm not a yes man. You know what I mean? You know, I'm genuine to what I do. And I wasn't even with God completely in terms of giving my complete self, you know? So I still did these type of things for what? Because of the next generation that may come in, whether they're there or not, they'll be hesitant in trying to apply that toward that person, that kid, that child that just wants to do his job. You know what I mean? And do you think they're going to be loyal to that child? They're going to go ahead and say, you know what? We're going to frame this kid because he's no longer a yes man, and we're going to show these reports or show whatever, and they're going to probably fire the guy and fine him and slander him and set him up. Because if they're applying the situation, they think they're above the law. And I mean, the police interact with our reports all the time. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to vouch for no coward person that can't even tell the truth. You know what I mean? You're supposed to be an advocate of writing genuine reports and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So if they're willing to influence me, it was a man and a woman, and they're both on the top, you know? And then HR want to go ahead and dismiss the situation like it's nothing. All right. Now I got some big money coming my way. And it already came. Pull a milli from the climate. Now you're not going to get $1 million, but when all these situations start adding up, Target wants to go ahead and force you to call whatever nickname they want to make up. You know what I mean? And put it on their thing. So if the guy nicknames himself as Allah or Jah or God or whatever, everyone's forced to say that. You know, if it's a man and he wants to call himself Julie, and my faith is about being honest to my children and to my people, I have to disrespect my faith and call that guy Julie in front of whoever is in my presence, dishonoring my beliefs of just being a genuine person. And now that I entered your environment, just because you think you're a private company, that you opt out from the law of the United States and the Constitution. Wrong. Of course you have to find civil litigation advocates that are about humanitarian processes. But during my false imprisonment, through my situation of the mother and the brother trying to false imprison me because they're trying to jack the money and just hate on me, you know what I mean? Because I'm not confirming their 3 dimensions that she demanded, and that guy's always been jealous of me, even though I bodyguard that guy for my life and stuff like that. They just hate me, you know what I mean? So, learning from that false situation, that process that I went through, I found a DC and a New York office that says, you know what? You could be compensated for this process in Montgomery County. You know what I mean? Because they false imprison you, they refuse to give you a police report. The lawyer that you hired for $2,000 still denied his due diligence towards you, and it's all against the law. What do you want to do? You want the money, or you want to send them all to jail? You want to disbar them? I said, nope, we're going all money. You know what I mean? We want them to keep working so they can pay. You know what I mean? You know? So how are you going to go ahead and implement this situation when it's going that deep? You do investigative work. Where? Toward even the judicial system, with the judges, in their personal life. Now you find things that, whoa, that guy dishonored his wife. Whoa, this guy got a terrible reputation doing this and that. You know what I mean? And he's supposed to be having the integrity of the law, even though his judgments are final in his past experiences. Placing that email in his conscience about knowing that he could lose his job, go to jail, dishonor himself, will force him to do what? When you come to court amongst his group of conglomerates, they're all going to vouch for each other. So what's going to happen? He's forced to do what? Provide due diligence to you. He's going to hate it. You know what I mean? But he's forced to say, you know what? Case settlement out of court. How you guys want to do this? Because people are going to jail now. And how are they going to jail? By me snitching on them? No. By them being under oath and snitching on themselves. And this is what I mean by you don't ever have to be a rat. Your presence will make people rat on themselves, especially if you're genuine, right? You're honest. You've been through a corrupt process for every step, and you recorded it, and it took a year or two to find this group. Now this group I invest in. Now we get Macy's. Now we get Target. Now we get a variety of different. All for what? I am not targeting these people. They are going ahead and applying these prejudices to me as an employee. You know what I mean? Discrimination as an employee. I'm looking at it going, so you mean to tell me you allow a man to say, I'm a female today, and you allow that man to go in the little girl's fitting room? So if a little girl comes out and the man's in a bikini, the girl goes, ah! Why is a man in here? Because the guy's walking around in female panties and he's as a man back and forth, not exiting the fitting room, but going back and forth. You think that is really protected by your little private company called Target? No. You know what I mean? So money is not the root of evil. What you want to go ahead and invest in terms of perversion and putting laws like you're a private company and you're like opt out to like force people to, disrespect their faith and beliefs because they enter your store and they're forced to go in and call these people nicknames when it's not even their legal nickname and not even respect the legality of the Constitution first. So you have to disrespect all those things just for you to be happy. So I have to call you Julie, knowing that you're man, knowing that you're a full-grown man. You know what I mean? I have to lie to my kids, disrespect my faith, and you know what I mean? No. And then you do not provide a company to where people enter and they get to experience corrupt behavior, perverted behavior. You know what I mean? You don't do that. And you don't have it in policy where you allow those potential experiences to happen. Did this ever occur? No, because you have to have balls to do this type of stuff. But I found DC office, New York office, that loves me for the fact that what? Not a whistleblower, a man of humanitarian policy in terms of protecting the next generation, because this perversion of society has been going along scot-free all along, while all these people just continuously make millions and millions off the customers while they're actually doing what? Creating corrupt and very, very discriminatory and offensive practices to create potential experiences of negative results for an innocent child. You know what I mean? You know, so that's why they silenced the first video. Let's see if they silence this one. I doubt it. You know what I mean? You know, but this is what I mean by pulling a milli from the climate. You think I'm really gonna go get my ball on off doing illegal activity? Are you crazy? You know what I mean? That's weak. But there's companies out there that are practicing heavy harassment, heavy discrimination, heavy violation of the Constitution, whether it's the court system or not. And that's how you pull a milli from the climate with a minimum effort. 100 emails. Now they respond. Now they go, look, 250,000 is what we could get off of this situation. And you're going to get this much. Let's sign up. All your evidence that you sent us, you don't need to go to court. We will. You know what I mean? And this will cost you that. Do you agree to this much? All in the 5 high digits. You know what I'm saying? So let them discriminate me about some bigger stuff. You know, or let me observe some form of discrimination or form of harassment that they think that they can apply so casually, like it's habitual as a policy-oriented practice in their company, etc. Get it? Protect the innocent and oppressed by any means through the political system. Yeah. Hogging that, Dr. Mona, Laddie Stone Brown. That's right.